On your conversations later in the service, but for now, let's enjoy our prelude music. I invite you to enjoy the chapel in the back of the sanctuary and note joys and concerns in the book there. If you have little ones, we have a nursery downstairs. We also broadcast the service on closed-circuit TV, which is located in the social hall near the nursery if you need to stay downstairs. After the service, I invite everyone downstairs to enjoy hospitality, to celebrate our youth and the opportunity to greet one another. Finally, please note the announcements in your order of service with the many ways to be engaged in this vibrant community. Come, whoever you are welcome here. No matter your age, your size, the color of your eyes, your hair, your skin, you are welcome here. No matter whom you love, how you speak, or whatever your abilities, you are welcome here. You are welcome here whether you come with laughter in your heart or tears. You are welcome here. If you come here with an open mind, a loving heart, and willing hands, you are welcome here. Good morning. You know,
Planning for this service is kind of a marathon with only 2 weeks of training. Just kidding. We've been training all year, every year. But what I'd like to point out here in our opening is that we wanted you to get to experience some of the ways that I include we, but it's really the youth, but the youth community, how we are together. So one thing you'll notice is that the chairs are arranged a little bit differently. That was one of the first requests of the youth for this service, is that we be in the round, just like they sit in a circle in their classroom on Sundays. And another rule that we have when we're together is that everybody gets to make themselves comfortable. So you'll notice that there are rugs and pillows in the middle of the sanctuary today. And I invite anyone who would be comfortable sitting down there. Now, I tell you right now, I would be down there if I were you. But unfortunately, I'm up here. But at any time, young or young at heart, or if you're just flexible enough to sit on the floor and like to sit on the floor, please feel free to join me. Another youth tradition that we are going to explore this morning with you is mail bags. So I'd like to direct your attention to the mail bags on the front of this altar. They have the names of the 6 seniors that are bridging out of our youth program this year. And you know it's bad when the DRE is already crying at the very beginning. I invite you to, what we do with mail bags at a youth event is that everybody makes one with their name on it, and it gets taped on a wall. So imagine a wall full of 100+ bags on the wall. And we exchange notes throughout the weekend if we're at a con. So what I invite you to do, you'll notice that there are papers and pencils and pens and some coloring sheets. I invite you to write something during the service today to go in one of those mail bags. Not all of those kids are here today, but they have all experienced our RE program, and we want to honor them as bridging seniors. And I think without further ado, we should get going with this service. So please join me in enjoying this number. Chalice. All right, please join me. Oh, actually, please rise. Okay, please join me in saying our chalice lighting words. We light this chalice for the warmth of love, for the light of truth, and for the energy of action. You may be seated. If you want it. Okay. When I went to plan this service with the high school group, among their requests were, can we light up Cade? And can we have a confetti cannon? I don't think the paper cups are quite the same. Okay, so for our meditation today, I invite everyone to get in a comfortable place. If that means joining the pillows on the floor, you are invited to do that once again. I'd like everyone to take a few deep breaths. One of my favorite authors, Anne Patchett, gave a commencement address in 2008, and I'm going to read a portion of that to you. Coming back, you must come back. Coming back is the thing that enables you to see how all the dots in your life are connected, how one decision leads to another, how one twist of fate, good or bad, brings you to a door that later takes you to another door, which, aided by several detours, long hallways, unforeseen stairwells, eventually puts you in the place you are now. Every choice lays down a trail of breadcrumbs, so that when you look behind you, there appears to be a very clear path that points straight to the place where you are now. But when you look ahead, there's not a trail of breadcrumbs. There's just a few shrubs, a bunch of trees, maybe a handful of skittish woodland creatures. I invite you to think about the breadcrumbs in your life. When you look back, the different places or milestones that you reached. Think of a person, someone who may have given you the piece of bread that enabled you to leave that breadcrumb trail. Hold that person in your heart right now. One thing that the youth asked for with this service is an opportunity to show gratitude for all of those people who have been on their path. Many of you are in this room. If you've ever been a mystery pal, an RE teacher, someone who told the story for all ages, you may have been one of those people who gave them. In light of our theme this year, Weaving the Web of Community, we have our loom out once again. And I invite you, if you have a name of someone who was someone who provided bread for you, I invite you to come up to this green altar and write their name on a piece of the tie-dye ribbon. And then it will be woven into the fabric of our community. And if you don't want to run up here and write on the ribbon, I invite you to greet your neighbor, making a special effort to greet someone that you don't already know, and a challenge, bonus challenge, to greet someone who is at least 20 years in age different from you. Are you ready? Let's do it.
the spirit of serving our wider community, for May and June, we will be supporting the Hope Clinic Heartfelt Healthcare, serving the needs of the uninsured and underserved in Salt Lake City. The Hope Clinic is a free medical facility dedicated to heartfelt quality healthcare for the underserved and uninsured in the Salt Lake area. The Hope Clinic will give hope to those who otherwise would have difficulty obtaining medical care due to financial restrictions. Will you join with me in saying the words printed in the order of service for our offering? We are this church. We are its hands, its heart, its voice. Together we share the wealth of this community and sustain it with our gifts.
The offering baskets will be traveling along the rows starting here, and we'll catch you all in the back.
This is my voice. There are many like it, but this one is mine. And it's a fine line when you're trying to define the finer points of politics. Politics being a Latin word, poly meaning many, ticks meaning blood-sucking bastards. But too many live in countries where it's bullets instead of ballots, gavels that fall like mallets when held in the hands of those whose judgments can be bought as easily as children can be taught to covet. And the only ones willing to speak up are pushed so far beneath the radar that the underground is considered above it. This is my voice. There are many like it, but this one is mine. And this time, it's for the sons and daughters who watch fathers and mothers drown in the shallow waters while panning for the American dream in the polluted creek we call mainstream. This is for the homeless people sleeping on stream beds, trying to catch them sleeping between the crash of car wrecks, risking their necks by surviving another day so that they can starve, so that famine can carve their body into a corpse before their hearts stop beating, so that people in a boardroom meeting can make it harder for them to get health care or welfare. It's no wonder some of them pawn off their own wheelchair. And every time I walk by, I can't help but feel at fault. Like maybe I didn't search myself hard enough for that Control Alt S so I could save the world. I've got to cash in my reality check so I can drop the world a few spare fantasies, because the most valuable thing I've ever learned is to believe someone when they say please. So don't tell me there are no heroes in this world. This is for them. For Helen Keller, who against all odds found a voice. For Martin Luther King, who stayed just long enough to share his dream. This is for the day on the bus with Sister Rosa Parks. This is for the Joan of Arcs who believe even in the face of sparks. For the day that Dalai Lama finally goes home. For Nelson Mandela, who continues to go the extra mile. This is for everything that Malcolm X said, remembered by athletes who went home from the Olympics double-fisted. For Arthur Miller, blacklisted for calling a witch hunt what it was. For Galileo, locked up because he said the earth revolves around the sun. For anyone who was told to be quiet but instead had their say. And imagine if we could hear John Lennon play. This is for someone who stood up today and said no. For Edward R. Monroe, who shut down McCarthy. This is for Mahatma Gandhi. You, me, this city, this country. We will always have a choice. When we stand up to be counted, tell the world this is your voice. There is many like it, but this one is mine. Thank you.
FallCon, MLK Youth Summit, Youth Ministry Revival, General Assembly, Bridging Con, Regional Assembly. These are the events I have had the absolute privilege of attending, each one providing me with life-changing experiences. My first con, FallCon, in Grand Junction, Colorado, was essential to me being interested in more. It was pretty laid back and tuned more towards fun. The essential part was my meeting of a very important friend named Grace. We have stayed friends through the years, even though we only see each other at cons. She went on to be a very significant youth leader. You know, when you hear that, you think of a strict person with a stick up their ass. Grace is to this day the living opposite of that. She is an extremely goofy, weird, hilarious person with strange, ridiculous, and honestly irresponsible stories that you fall on the ground laughing from. The next con was really intense. It was about racism. At the time, it was a topic I had not delved deep into. Sure, I had heard about the problems in the 1950s, but not how severely they persisted into the current time. My eyes were truly and widely opened that weekend, pushing me towards activism, including my participation in a march, which is a huge part of who I am today. Every con has made me a better person with my continued participation in them. My growth as a person and my hope in the world increases through every con, and I learn from every experience. I have made many valuable friends and strengthened friendships in my high school group. And all along the way, I've enjoyed Voodoo Donuts, which is the best donut shop I've ever seen, and I've had some of the best food because of Liz Martin, who has been my adult sponsor to every con and has been there for every experience, including a recent con in New Mexico where I was in the car for 10 hours with her and Russ. She has been a very positive influence on my life, I think more than she realizes. This upcoming con, I plan to run for the Youth Adult Committee and further my wish to be a leader in the con community and my own. I cannot truly express how important this community is to me. It has provided me with so many opportunities, including a camp called Camp Anytown, which I heard about from Maggie Burns. It's run through the Inclusion Center, so you can assume how inclusive it is. Some of the very best parts of me are there because of the wonderful communities I've been a part of, and it all originates here at this wonderful church. Thank you.
We're not as tall as he is. Okay.
Hi, my name is Isabel Burns. I'm a senior.
My name is Hannah Renshaw, and I'm a junior in the high school group.
We did not come here by ourselves.
We are not afraid to admit our dependence. Some would say that it makes us weak, but I would argue that we are so much stronger when we are being held up by a community of people, an army even.
We were lucky enough to be raised like that, with an army behind us, pushing us to be the best versions of ourselves. A lack of detailed long-term memory is not the only reason for literally not being able to remember our first experiences with activism. It has been a part of our lives for years, so long that years cannot be specified, that lists are difficult to make. We did not get ourselves there. Yes, partly because we were too young to do anything ourselves really, but also because of that community that was right there with us the whole way.
It takes an army. It really does. And I mean that figuratively and literally, both in equal measure. There is no way in hell we would be here, how we are, knowing what we know, doing what we do, without you. Yeah, I'm choosing crap, right? But I'm not kidding. Exaggerating, pandering, etc., etc. Never did I think that I would have marched alongside the Black Lives Matter movement in Denver, adrenaline rushing, heart racing, risking arrest, and just about everything else I had at age 14. But I did.
There are impossibilities in this world that most people would never dare to take on. But I have learned here to always be the one who dares, the one who tries, the one who leads the rest into battle, the one who knows that it does take an army and is not afraid to join the fray.
Never did we think that we would be representing the March for Our Lives movement as student ambassadors, working with such amazing people, organizing voter registrations, walkouts, and so much more. But we are.
Never did we think that we could become leaders, but we have. We have not done any of these things alone, and we wouldn't want to.
It is very hard to fear the tightrope with a support net beneath you, to cower before the great mountain with a harness around you and someone holding the rope at the bottom. And so we are the ones who do something. And we do it knowing that no matter how many times we slip or even fall, we will not break, and we will get back up and find our footholds again.
It is this community, this amazing support net, this web woven protectively around us as young activists that made us sure that we could change something. There are things that need doing in this world, and someone has to do them. It is this place, this wonderful home of ours that led us to think, why not me?
Morning. My name is Josh Hutchison, and I'm part of the youth group here. I'm a graduating senior. And over the past few years of being in this youth group, I had the pleasure and privilege of attending the 2015 and 2017 General Assemblies. At both General Assemblies, we attended a WARE lecture. The first was from Dr. Cornell West, and the other was from Brian Stevenson. Both talked a lot about racial justice and about the world and how much love and acceptance can bring us all together. They talked about their careers and what they have done with showing up to protests and gatherings for justice. They would do anything to fight for what they believe in and to make the world a better place. They inspired me in so many ways, big and small. They also made me realize that you don't need to lead some big protest or lead a resistance. Although big things do matter, it is the small things that count as well. Doing many small things consistently will make a big impact. I've learned so much from the two of them with doing what you believe in, speaking up for what is right, and speaking for the greater good. The biggest thing that I've done, and from what I've learned from the two of them, and to speak out for what you believe in, is I participated in the school walkout, protesting for better school safety, gun control, and giving respect for those who have lost their lives in the Parkland shooting. We had 17 minutes of silence for the 17 lives that were lost. I have grown over the years to believe that if we want change and we want the world to be better, then we need to change and do something about it now. We need to do something today. I know it is true and I know it is right. I have enjoyed this journey of learning to speak out and learning to not turn a blind eye, to do what is right. Dr. Cornell West talked about W.E.B. Du Bois, an African-American male who I would like to say could tell the future. How shall integrity face oppression, Cornell West stated in his lecture. We need to be brave and stand up for what is right. In the 2017 Weber lecture with Brian Stevenson, he stated there are 4 essential things we need to do to achieve a just society. 1, get proximate to the poor, the excluded, the neglected, and the abused. 2, change the narratives that underlie inequality and injustice. You must resist fear and anger. The two lead to narrative that tolerates injustice. 3, stay hopeful about creating justice. You must fight against what makes you hopeless. It is the enemy of justice. And 4, be willing to do uncomfortable things. It is human nature to do what is comfortable. Step out of your comfort zone a little and do uncomfortable things. I have learned so much from 2 short talks from very powerful speakers. Listening to them talk were by far my favorite parts of being at General Assembly. Their words gave me chills. I am so grateful I had the opportunity to listen to these 2 great speakers talk about justice and what we should and need to do as a community and how to create a better just society and and live as a whole. Stevenson talked about how we should embrace our differences, not shame others for being different, and not being the so-called definition of normal that today's society has set. These 2 rare lectures were a huge part of my GA experience. I'll also never forget, while being at the rare lectures, Isabel and Sherry would go back to the hotel because they were tired and go set up booby traps in our hotel room. Such as rubber snakes in our beds and Vaseline on the doorknobs. The rare lectures we saw were at General Assembly were the most impactful for me and will forever change the way I think. The memories I have made at the conferences will forever be joyful and a good laugh. I will always cherish them. I'm so grateful for this group that I can proudly have become part of my family. If it weren't for them, I would not have gotten to have the privilege and to experience everything that I have done together. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Grace Burns, and I'm a graduating senior in the high school class. I'm graduating high school in 3.5 weeks, which means 2 things. Number 1, I'm emotional all the time, so fair warning, I might cry. And number 2, I've been thinking a lot about everything that has led me to this point. It seems like the older I get, the less I know about growing up or being an adult. I don't know what kind of career I want to have. I don't even know what field I want to go into. I don't know how to do taxes, or how to buy a house, or even how to take care of a houseplant. But I do know who I am. I know how to stand up for myself and others. I know how to fight for equality. I know how to do the right thing even if it's hard. And I know that I can change the world. I know who I am because of this congregation. You have all led me to this point. An organization called Circles of Learning states that community gives a child support, a sense of belonging, a strong sense of self, and a sense of connection. They feel emotionally and physically safe and valued. They develop social abilities and have a sense of sharing and caring for one another. This home community has done that and so much more for me. Because of the lessons I've learned in class, the volunteer experience, traveling to the Leadership Con in Denver and General Assembly in Portland and New Orleans, and even things like hanging out with my classmates, mystery pals, and babysitting for the auction have all led me to be the person that I am today. For example, at General Assembly in New Orleans last year, I chose to go to the UUA presidential candidate debate with Joni, Mac, and Kylan, who were all delegates for our congregation, instead of going to a youth activity. This was an amazing experience for me because not only did they invite me to go with them, but they considered and listened to my opinion during the discussion that came afterwards. Because this congregation has encouraged me to become involved and educate myself on topics that affect not only me but our whole community, I felt completely comfortable standing up for what I thought was the best decision for our congregation, and the delegates listened to me and put my thoughts into action. With all the changes that I will be experiencing for the next few weeks, months, and years, and for the rest of my life, I know that I will always have a community that I can come back to. This church raised me, and I want to say thank you. Thank you for treating every single person with worth and dignity. Thank you for being amazing examples and role models in the everyday things that you do. Thank you for being a congregation that accepts people for who they are, because growing up as an impressionable kid, that made all the difference. Even if you don't realize it, the small things that you've done have made an impact on not only me, but my classmates as well. I would like to especially thank my teachers. Will you please stand if your name is Christy Montrone Burns, Joni Packard, Sherry Lund, Mac Lund, Peggy Montrone, Lorelei White, Elena Hendricks, and Liz Martin. Over the past 4 years, you have taught us about some of the toughest topics. And even though it was really hard, you taught us anyway. You spent tireless hours fundraising and planning so that we could go to GA, or to cons, or on volunteer trips, or on cabin retreats. You looked out for us, supported us, and most importantly, you taught us how to think for ourselves. I can't tell you how much I appreciate everything you've done for me and the youth group. I don't know what life will throw our way after we bridge, but I do know that it will be okay because the lessons that you've taught us have given us a strong foundation that will lead us out into the world to do amazing things. This was just a small gesture of our gratitude to you. Can we please give these teachers a round of applause for everything they've done? And if you are willing and able, will you please stand if you are currently or have been a preschool through high school teacher or OWL facilitator? Which is a lot of you. Can we also give these teachers a big round of applause and a thank you for all their work? That's awesome. I would like to conclude by reading a quote by author Ali Condi, dedicated to my current and former classmates. Growing apart doesn't change the fact that for a long time we grew side by side. Our roots will always be tangled. I'm grateful for them. Wherever life takes me, I will remember this congregation and all the things that you've done for me and that we've done together, and I'll know that my roots are right here. Thank you.
Selves, or if we strive to find the heavens, then we gotta walk through hell. Well, if we crave a change, why not start today and scream it out loud? We're not going crazy, we're learning to fly. We're looking for answers with both of our eyes. Maybe it's time to tame the monster inside of this wild, wild world we live in. There's a million pieces missing, 7 worlds to fall apart like that. How can one man make a difference? Maybe love is where it starts. Well, if we crave a change, why not start today and scream it out loud? We're not going crazy, we're learning to fly. We're looking for answers with both of our eyes. Maybe it's time to tame the monster inside of this wild, wild world we live in. Destroy and rebuild. It's kill or be killed. We can change everything. A little love never hurt anything. We fight and we bleed. We live and we breathe. We can change everything. We can change the world. What a wild, wild world we live in. We're not going crazy, we're learning to fly. We're looking for answers with both of our eyes. Maybe it's time to tame the monster inside of this wild, wild world we live in. We're not going crazy, we're learning
bridge for our bridging ceremony. I think Russ helped me acquire this and paint it about 4 years ago. And you can see that previous generations of bridgers have signed it. The bridging ceremony is something that is done across our Unitarian Universalist Association. And it is typically for seniors who are bridging out of the high school group into the adult community. Here in our congregation, we like to honor all of the transitions that our children and youth are going through for the coming year. So my question for you, I'm looking around, are there any children out there who are moving from preschool to kindergarten next year? Are there any out there today? Okay, Emily's off the hook. She doesn't have to lead her any preschoolers across the bridge today. Okay, so now I would like to invite the junior high students. So everyone who is in 6th, 7th, or 8th grade right now, I'd like to invite you to come over here and stand with Reverend Patty. And now I'd like to invite any 5th graders who will be moving up into our junior high youth group. Looking at you, Anthony. Come and no, not yet. You're on this side with me. Okay. Let's make sure I get the rope. To our 5th graders, our 5th grader, Anthony. Who would say hi, You are on the edge of a very scary precipice. Middle school. I'm just kidding. You're not. We welcome you to a whole new world of transition and growth and learning. And I don't just mean junior high owl. Junior high kids, do you, the junior high youth, promise to provide a safe, supportive, and fun spiritual home for this incoming 6th grader, where every person is valued and loved for who they are? If you agree to do this, please say, "We do." All right, Anthony gets to cross the bridge and join the junior high. I would like to invite all of the high schoolers to please join me over here on this side of the bridge. I suggest you tall ones let the other people in front of you. Thank you. Oh, so sweet. Okay, so junior high group. Would any 8th graders please step forward? All right, here's Simeon. Simeon is getting ready to join our high school group next year. So moving from our junior high group to our high school group isn't a huge leap. You move from one classroom to the next one over. Our program is rich in shared relationships among all the youth and their families, junior high and high school. We often do things together. But we still acknowledge that you have grown a lot in our presence. Look at how much taller he is than last year. Easy. And we charge you with a special role to be one of those awesome high schoolers that all the younger kids look up to. Can you do that? Awesome. High schoolers, do you, as the high school group, covenant to continue to be your awesome selves, sharing your talents and your energy with the whole congregation like you do, and welcome this incoming freshman with an open heart? If you agree, will you say, "We do"? We We do. All right, Simeon, time to cross the bridge and join the high schoolers. Okay, I would like to invite any young adults of our congregation. You are aged 18 through 30-ish. Go ahead and join Reverend Patty on that side of the bridge. Come on up. If you're 30-ish in your mind, that's good enough.
And all of you who, when you come over here, then you are invited, and actually the ones the year before invited to Lou and my house on Friday night for a party. And we hope all of you come. And it's at 6 o'clock.
Okay. Graduating seniors, please step forward. Let Zach out. Okay, so we have Zach and Josh and Isabel and Grace, who are our graduating seniors here. And first, I'd like to thank you for not telling worse stories about me up there from the pulpit. This crew right here is a part of the reason that I'm a DRE today. 5 years ago, a little more, they were making me cry every other Sunday after the OWL class. OWL is Our Whole Lives. It's a comprehensive sexuality education course. It is awesome. We had 22 kids in there. We had 4 sets of siblings and 2 sets of twins. There's the sets of twins. After OWL was over, Trista asked me if I would be a coming-of-age mentor. Have any of you ever done that? We do it every few years here. I sighed. I'd had quite enough of this youth group. I'm totally joking. I said yes, totally enthusiastically, because I wanted to spend more time with these young people. And it has been an honor and a gift to be leading the RE program for the last 5 years while they progressed to be 8th graders, 9th graders, 10th graders, 11th graders, and 12th graders. They have helped me to grow. Some of that growth involved a circular saw and finishing a house in New Orleans, and I really wasn't sure my heart was gonna survive that. But good job, Josh. I got to spend a lot of time with these kids between going to Portland with them for GA, going to New Orleans for GA, going to the cabin to hang out in our annual retreats, spending time at different cons. We have gone to cons together, which you've heard it referred to several times. That is how the youth in our district connect. We spend a whole weekend together sleeping on the floors of churches. So if you ever think that sounds like fun, let me know, because I could use some more sponsors. But we've had that kind of bonding experience, whether it's staying in the cabin together, staying in a sketchy hotel in Portland. Just kidding, it wasn't sketchy. Or sleeping on church floors. And I'm really, really glad that I got to do it with them. And now I will stop talking. To the seniors, we have watched you grow and evolve over the years. Some of you, I believe it's been about 16 years since you first came here. Yeah. And we celebrate you today for how far you've come. So, young adults and entire congregation, you are all a part of this. Do you, the young adults, and all of the assembled congregation pledge to welcome these young adults, newly minted young adults, with open arms, to honor their gifts, to be their church home, ready to watch them and catch them whenever they soar or stumble into your arms? If you agree, please say, "We do." We do. Are you ready? Are you ready to cross the bridge? Don't fall down, please. So we wanted to do something sort of impromptu right now. I had some special words to say, bridging words, but instead, we are going to do something that we do at the end of every con that we go to. And we want to create a circle holding hands. So will you guys all spread out this way and create a big circle around the rug? Will you guys join us if you're on the rug? Okay, so this is a tradition at the very end of every con. We get all of the youth and all of the sponsors in a great big circle. And sometimes it's been up to 150 people at a con I've been at. And we sing this goodbye song, and you'll get it. Everyone can join in. And when we begin the gathering in the middle, feel free to stand back if that's not something you're comfortable with, or to join right in. The youth will lead you. Plenty of them have been through this several times. All right, are you ready? Kate's going to start us off. Go, Kate.
I want to linger a little longer here with you. As the years go by, I look at you inside. This is good night, but not goodbye. Baru, I want to linger a little longer here with you. Baru, as the years go by, I look at you inside. This is good night, but not goodbye. Baru, I want to linger a little longer here with you. Baru, as the years go by, I look at you inside. This is good night, but not goodbye. Baru, a little longer here with you. Baru, as the years go by, I look at you inside. This is good night, but not goodbye. Baru, I want to linger a little longer here with you. Baru, as the years go by, I look at you inside. This is good night, but not goodbye.
Now, just as we always say, sing "Go Now in Peace," we want you to go. We don't want you to come. We want you to come back. Okay? So, you're group one. You all in the back, group two. You're in the middle, me in group one. And over here, actually, might you be part of group three? We're going to sing "Go Now in Peace," and then in a round. Did you know that we're going to do this round? Well, we'll try. One time through together, and then 2 times through in groups.
need to make one quick announcement before the benediction, and that is we have a luncheon happening downstairs to honor these youth, but that means everyone is invited. And there are some books that Peggy will have downstairs on a table if you would like to write a message to one of our graduating seniors. And I hope some of you wrote notes or colored pictures for them for their mailbags. Thank you.
We have up here a painting of Standing Rock that comes from that day when we all stood in a circle, and that was taken from a photograph that I took at that moment when we were all joined to one another. Let us do that right now. I invite you to stand and find someone to join, so join with me too, but find people to join with you, and let us make a great circle wide as the sky. It's a painting by Judy Mayer, who is a member of our community. Does everyone have someone to hang on to? No. I hear a no. Follow that no. Any other no's? Let us take just a moment. Let's take a deep breath and let's look around at this circle. This circle that has supported these amazing youth. And these youth who have supported us, whose energy has bubbled up from downstairs and brought us much laughter and goodness. Together we bear witness of the gifts, the laughter, the camaraderie. Together we have had a glimpse at what you youth have brought into our community. I believe everyone joins me in saying, may the force be with you. However you envision that force, and may you feel our presence with you. This is a community in which you will always belong. No exceptions, just as you are. We hope that you join with the young adults now, and if you wait, like many of you did, until you have children, we will welcome the children with you. And if the world becomes hard and you feel alone and you are still living nearby, return. Return and find rest and find belonging. If you don't recognize faces, introduce yourselves. Say, this is my home. Who are you? You are all woven into who we are as a community. Remember that and hold that. And may you dream extravagant dreams, and may they come true. Amen, and may it be so. And the people said, Alleluia, Alleluia to our youth. Thank you.